He liked her. So he gave her a piece of land and gave her money to build this hotel there, and she became the boss of the hotel for about 10, 15 years. It was a famous place. All the Westerners, ambassadors, people meeting at this hotel, many, many cocktail parties and birthday parties and special dinner and such were held here. And it's reported to have had Korea's first coffee shop as part of the hotel restaurant, first place imported and used coffee. And she, Sondag, then introduced coffee to Emperor Gojong, and he really liked it and used to sit at Doksu Palace. There was a special pavilion he built. Every morning he would sit and drink a cup of coffee. Near the end of his reign, that pavilion is still at Doksu Palace. Wonderful place. However, other Koreans now dispute this in the city of Gangneung. Gangneung on the East Coast, that was big in the Winter Olympics. They say they brought the first coffee to Korea, imported through Russia, from Vladivostok, Russia, came to Gangneung City, and they set up the first drinking coffee in Korea. They say so. So now there's a whole district in Gangnam, which is really fancy coffee shops, gourmet, high-tech, and they say this is the original coffee place of Korea. It's part of Gangneung tourism. Believe what you wish to believe. And for a long time, people said that this was the first. We don't know. Finally, get to this guy. Very important. He shows up, Mr. Sunshine, right at the end. Very important figure. Ito Hirobuni. Very famous, known to Koreans. One of the greatest of the Japanese leaders, nobles. He served Emperor Meiji, under Emperor Meiji. He served under him as like prime minister, as head of the state council, several other offices. He was prime minister like 4 different times and such. He was really smart guy, really high IQ. He was one of the ones who designed the Japanese empire. He made the plans. This is what we should do. First of all, Joseon, and then Manchuria, Taiwan, and so move towards Vietnam, take Shanghai. He made the plans of the Japanese empire, really the architect of this. He had a philosophy, his personal philosophy, Asia for the Asians. And this makes sense. Asia should be run by Asians for Asians. In other words, white people get out, was his philosophy. The British, the French, the Germans, even the Americans, he said, get out. We will take over Asia and we will run Asia for Asian people. We'll build our own factories. We'll put in electricity and train lines. We will modernize for Asians, us together, as brothers. This was his philosophy. Many people in Tokyo, however, in Tokyo with the imperial government, were much more military-minded, of saying, no, we use the army. We take it. If the Chinese are too slow to adopt our philosophy, we will make them do so. And the Koreans, if the Koreans will not obey the wisdom of the Japanese emperor to kick out the white people, we will make the Koreans follow us. Those people doing that. He really was against that. He resisted that. Although he was the leader and he often made it happen, but he was against it personally. He wanted a peaceful brotherhood of Asians to kick out the white people. And so, An Jung-gun, famous resistance fighter. One of the people, he's not shown in Mr. Sunshine. Maybe he'll be shown in episode 2, season 2. Season 2 is going to come up. They call it The Children of Asian. Because at the end of this Mr. Sunshine, Asian is shown being with the Weebyung, the righteous fighters, and training the young men, showing them how to shoot. And so there will be a season 2 of Mr. Sunshine now that'll show what happened after 1910. It'll be her thing. Maybe they're going to show An Jung-gun then. He was killed. An Jung-gun believed the same thing as Ito Hirobuni. They had the same basic belief. Foreigners get out. Asia for the Asians. All Asians should be brothers together. Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, Vietnamese, brothers together. Kick out the foreigners. He believed the same thing. But the Japanese, as I said, the leaders in Tokyo, they twisted it to say that, okay, we're going to kick out the white people under the Emperor of Japan. And Chinese and Koreans so said, no, you're not an emperor, and we are not going under you. You're king of Japan, you stay in Japan. Just give us the guns. You, just give us the guns, give us the bullets. We'll kick out the white people from our country. We don't need Japanese soldiers. We are not going to be under the emperor of Japan. Ito Hirobune, his government, they insisted, yeah, we have to do this under the emperor of Japan. This was the problem. And An Jung-geun got so different-minded about this, he killed Ito Hirobune at the train station in Harbin, China, the north part of Manchuria in China, still a very remote area, Harbin City in China. The Japanese built a train line up there, and they just opened the new train station, and Ito Hirobune went there, already an old man, a very senior, the most important man of the Japanese government. He went there just to open the new train station. An Jung-geun found out he was going to be there and showed up, had a gun in his pocket. In those days, it was very easy. There was not so much security. Just walked right up to him and put a gun and shot him dead. Then the Japanese arrested An Jung-geun and tried him, and he gave his reasons. He said, why I killed Ito Hirobune. He wrote a famous essay, 15 Reasons Why I Had to Kill Him. But it's tragic because they both wanted the same thing. They both wanted Europeans and Americans to get out of East Asia and Asian people to run Asia. They both wanted that. But the difference was Ito Hirobune was saying, you have to do it under Japan. And Koreans and Chinese would never agree to that. I told you at the beginning of this lecture why. They never considered the Japanese as legitimate government, as legitimate civilized. They would not be under Japan. This is the tragedy of it. So we get to the Webyung, the righteous army. This is depicted in Mr. Sunshine. Korea. This is an old concept in Korea, a righteous army, an army of civilian, not regular army, not regular soldiers, but civilian, regular Koreans who get weapons and get training and resist the foreigners, drive them out just for the sake of Korean patriotism. This goes back to the Mongols. When the Mongols invaded Korea and the king of Korea ended up surrendering, some Koreans kept fighting in the mountains, especially on Jindo Island. There's a very famous place. They kept fighting. They're called Webyung, righteous army against the Mongols. Later in the Imjin War, when Japan invaded, also there was Webyung. Not regular Korean army, but some Koreans, including Buddhist monk soldiers who fought in the mountains against the Japanese. Webyung. Then many sages and groups. There were many, many different groups. It was never well organized as one thing. In Mr. Sunshine, they kind of make it seem like there was one organized group of Webyung against the Japanese. No, there were many different groups, and at different times they were often defeated and killed, and then another group would come up. But this did happen during all this time for 50 years. After Queen Min was killed, there started to be Koreans who were violent, and that's what Mr. Sunshine is about. The drama depicts these, they're called the Ulsa Webyung because of that 1905 Ulsa Treaty and such, that they're rebelling against that, especially in trying to kill the 5 traitors for that, Iwanyong, those people. Even in the democracy movement of the 1980s, when young Koreans, university students, and labor unions were fighting against Chunduan military dictatorship, some of them called themselves, they used this name as Webyung, at the idea of Yulsa, a martyr. If you were killed in the fight, then you're a martyr for the nation, a Yulsa. They used that. This is the actual photo of Korean Webyung, the only photo. The only existing surviving photo of the Webyung, taken by American photographer Mackenzie. He was together with the Christian missionaries, again trying to help Koreans, very sympathetic to Koreans. Mackenzie is a character in Mr. Sunshine. At the end, you can see him, and he took this photo in, this is what they did in Mr. Sunshine. They're copying the same photo, you see. It's basically the same, sort of, in the characters, but somewhat different. I did that. They show Mackenzie taking this photo. It's the only photo that remains of actual Webyung. Because, of course, they were secret. And this is the very beginning, in episode number 1, where, or number 2 is it? Episode 2, where John is training teach him in how to shoot a rifle, the very beginning of this modern Weebiung, according to Mr. Sunshine. But then again, that's not true. And we get to the end here, just saying, this is not included in Mr. Sunshine, but it will be in Mr. Sunshine Season 2, I'm sure. They're going to show the resistance against the Japanese after 1910, and the key moment here, the 1919 Declaration of Independence at Pagoda Park, what's called Tapgo Kongwan. 33 Korean men signed the Declaration of Independence. They were very brave. They knew that the Japanese would arrest them and beat them and torture them for doing that, but they did it anyway. 33 men. They were 16 Protestant Christians under the influence of American and British missionaries who had taught them about freedom and democracy, republic. The American missionaries here did not only teach about Jesus, they also taught about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. And the British missionaries talked about Parliament and modern democracy. And this is where a lot of Koreans got this idea. 16 Protestant Christians, 15 Chundogyo church members, very nationalistic, patriotic Korean religion from the Donghak Rebellion, and 2 Buddhist monks, Manhei Hanyongun and Mr. Baeksuk Snim. 2 Buddhist monks, 33 men, no women, sorry, signed the Declaration of Independence, 1910. And this is what we just had the 100-year anniversary of, and such. And I'm sure they're going to pick this up in the drama, and we'll see how they show that, and if they do historical reality or if they don't, if they cheat. This is very important. We just had the 100-year anniversary. This government, as President Moon emphasized in his speech, this government today, Republic of Korea, takes their foundation as this day, March 1st, 1919. That's the beginning of the Republic of Korea. North Korea does not agree. North Korea says this was nothing. This was insignificant. The modern Korea was started by Kim Il-sung when he started the Communist Party of Korea up in Manchuria, Baekdusan Mountain. They said this was nothing. But for South Korea, this is the foundation. And it's very noticeable, my last final point, very noticeable that here in 1919, Joseon Dynasty was only finished for 9 years. It had only been 9 years, but nobody in Korea was saying, bring back our king. Bring back the king. Let's have Joseon Dynasty, or let's have a new dynasty, a new king. Nobody. Everybody was out saying, Daehanminguk Manse, meaning Republic of Korea, live forever. Everybody was shouting for Republic of Korea, a modern democracy, which is what South Korea has today. And such. Nobody was looking to have king again, which is significant. It showed how much the psychology had changed. How about here in Mr. Sunshine, everybody's still fighting for Joseon, meaning fighting for King Kojong to continue as the government. But by 1919, everybody's saying Republic. So after they show Mr. Sunshine drama, Season 2, we'll come back for another history lecture. Do this again and see what is right and what's wrong. Question?